What's up, gamers? It's Relms, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at an MMO that I'm actually having a surprisingly good time with. Now, the game is a fusion of a sandbox, hardcore PvP, and resource gathering, and it all comes together in a rather enjoyable package. So put on your chainmail, grab a shield, and let's take a closer look at Crowfall. Crowfall is a sandbox competitive PvP game from publisher Artcraft that was released officially on July 6th of this year. Now, the game had previously been in beta for quite some time. Now, one of the biggest draws to the game is the promise of both large and small scale PvP battles. Now, the game does offer open world PvP in a few different ways, which include guild versus guild and also faction versus faction. Now, the game has little to no real player versus environment content either, so if you're expecting a full game with questing, raids, and dungeons, this is probably not the game for you. One of the more unique aspects of Crowfall is the ability to move across various servers, so your character actually isn't bound to a specific server, but can freely move between them at will. Now, when you first start the game, you'll want to start on one of the worlds that's marked as a starting world, as these worlds do provide you with a tutorial, and that tutorial does allow you to learn all about the different systems in the game, and it even provides you with enough experience to get you almost to level cap. Now, I highly advise following the tutorial, as I found the sections on advanced crafting and also the different modes of PvP to be super helpful. Once you've settled on a starting world, you'll want to create your first character next. Now, the game offers 12 different races and 11 different classes to choose from. Now, selecting the appropriate race with stats that match the class is actually important and gives you a decent advantage. So make sure that you're looking at those stats on the races to see if that's going to mesh with the class that you want to play. Now, each class also has 3 promotions or specializations that you can choose from. Now, these promotions are essentially the spec of the class that you want to play, and it comes into the talent tree a little bit later on, so you don't actually choose that up front, but you can specialize into it as you level up. Once you've jumped into a starting world, just follow the question mark icon on your direction bar at the top of the screen, and this is going to help you navigate from objective to objective. Now, make sure that you do pay attention to the quest text in these tutorial quests, as they contain helpful info on the various systems in the game. While not overly complex, the crafting system in particular is extremely robust and requires you to understand how to obtain specific resources to make the rarer items. Now, the tutorial should get you to roughly level 27 or 28, and then you can either decide to grind out mobs or to utilize the sacrifice system, which allows you to turn in items for EXP to get to level 30. Level 30 is currently the soft cap of the game, but you can actually go up to level 35 via obtaining items called vessels. Now, vessels are crafted items and they're fairly difficult to obtain, and reaching levels above 30 doesn't actually have a significant benefit to stats, but it's more like a personal prestige. At level 30, the name of the game is gearing. Now, typically you will grind out in a zone called Sky Point, which is where all 3 factions come together and small-scale PvP can occur in this open world. You'll typically want to grind out on NPC mobs in villages marked on your map, and in those villages you'll kill monsters marked as elites or higher. Side note, you cannot repair your gear, so you'll likely want to farm out a few sets to have on hand at all times for your class. Now, gear can also be crafted, but if you're new and not in a guild that can help with gearing, you'll likely need to grind it out, and PvP against other factions who are grinding is bound to occur. The end game is completely what you want to make it in Crowfall. If you want to be a resource gatherer, a crafter, or just PvP, there's nothing that's going to force you into a specific direction. Now, the big allure for me was joining a guild so that I could participate in guild versus guild battles, which is where the hardcore PvP happens in this game. Now, campaigns, as they're called, are normally faction versus faction or guild versus guild and have different rule sets and only go for a set amount of time. For example, in some servers, you're not able to bring over any gear from your character, so you start at level 30 with no gear and have to obtain it on the new server. Now, various rule sets exist for these PvP worlds, so make sure that you review them before you move a character over. I've also met players who roll characters just for resource gathering or crafting. Now, certain races receive bonuses to gathering and specific crafting professions as well, so the crafting and gathering aspect of the game is just as important as PvP. Now, the game is also super friendly to rolling alternate characters. You have a shared bank, you can trade resources freely amongst those characters, and if you run through the tutorial again, it's only roughly 2 to 3 hours to level up to 30 if you completely skip all the text. Plus, there are additional methods to level up to 30 quickly as well. All in all, I'm very much enjoying my time in Crowfall. It's not a game where you get to max level, beat the raid bosses, and you win, but it's a persistent grind to gear for PvP, gather resources, and work with your guild to achieve a common goal. Now, the game is absolutely not perfect, as I've encountered a handful of bugs myself, but the development team seems receptive to feedback and are working to better the game. If you're looking for something that's just a bit different from most other MMOs out there, and you also love PvP or crafting, Crowfall will not disappoint. I've also provided a link in the description of this video that has a code for 25% off this game, in addition to 10 free trial days on your account. So until next time, I'm Relms, and thank you for watching.